Hello folks, welcome to OTD, also known as On The Deck, where you can get all the sports you need in 10 minutes. My name is Adam Orduna, this is my mom Gina.
He's a journalist.
She's the enthusiast.
I love sports, I'm enthusiastic. We got a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, we have a sports news update that we need to give everyone right now.
News just came out.
Yes, some news just came out. This is in reference to the Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather fight at T-Mobile Arena down there in Las Vegas, Nevada. They are trying desperately to make sure that this fight actually sells out for the viewers at home. I think they'll probably do it at the arena, but the viewership at home is not good, and that is a huge problem for Floyd and even Conor McGregor, because that's where they're going to make their money for the most part, is the pay-per-view sales. Right. And so
I don't know if they're going to take off the venue or not. It's pay-per-view driving their money.
Right, correct. And so they moved it to T-Mobile Arena so that way they could get more people in the stands.
And it hasn't sold out though, so how'd that work out?
Right, and generally the fights are at MGM or one of those casino/resorts. But they moved it to T-Mobile Arena, which that's cool. It's a brand new arena down there in Las Vegas. But they're trying desperately to make sure that this fight sells out. So now what they did was they made a ruling. They made an exception to the rule, because in boxing you have to have 10-ounce gloves. Right. And so they now made an exception to have 8-ounce gloves for the fight. I know they've been talking mess back and forth to each other the whole time. Talking about, I'll knock you out, I'll knock you out, I'll knock you out. No. No one's getting knocked out. That's in their contract that they put in for the fight. Yes. Sorry to tell people that, but that's the truth. Nobody's getting knocked out.
Correct. Floyd Money Mayweather is not going to go in there with his perfect record.
Correct.
And agree to fight someone that's going to knock him out.
At 40.
That's not happening.
And letting Conor McGregor knock him out. No. And Conor McGregor at 20 whatever, you know.
20-2 or whatever
he's
his record
25-2, and at age 28 or whatever he is not going to let 40-year-old old Floyd Mayweather knock him out. There's just too much pride on the line for both of them to get knocked out.
No, let's be clear. The behind the scenes deal that they both signed on to was we're going to go in there, give each other a few rounds, go to 12 rounds, and win on decision, Floyd Mayweather.
Correct.
That's what's going to happen.
Exactly, and they're both going to get paid a huge amount of money.
Just like they did to us with Manny Pacquiao.
Exactly.
If you guys pay for this fight, that's fine.
Right.
Totally, it's like watching WWE.
Right.
You know it's scripted.
Yes.
You know sometimes the good guy's going to win, sometimes the bad, but you still pay to go to SummerSlam.
Right.
That's how I'm looking at it.
Exactly.
For people buying this fight, it's just like it's already scripted out, folks.
Yes.
Mayweather's going to win on decision.
Now what's the full ruling with this? Now it's a 154-pound weight limit for the 10-ounce gloves, and so it was the commission that the Nevada State Commission Athletic Association, is that what it was? That
the Nevada State Athletic Commission,
right?
The NSAC. Well, what happens is if you're over 149 pounds, you're supposed to wear 10-ounce gloves or higher. And so, you know, all the smack talk, I'll knock you out, like you said, they're in there with pillows. Yeah. And so finally Floyd said, fine, you want to use the 8-ounce ones? We'll do that. I don't understand it. It must be to drive ratings because Floyd has brittle hands.
Exactly.
He needs to have
and that's my point, is that they are desperately trying to make this fight more appealing so that way people will watch. Because if they have 8-ounce gloves, there's a chance for someone to maybe step into a punch and get knocked out. Now, again, these guys are going to be pulling their punches. They're not going to actually throw hard punches. This is not Lennox Lewis or Mike Tyson out there really, you know, Muhammad Ali really throwing punches because they want to beat that guy. This is, like you said, WWE. This is all scripted. It's all a show. And so here's one more little caveat to make sure that people want to tune in. We get 8-ounce gloves, smaller gloves to really, you know, show them that, hey, we're going to punch each other this time.
Floyd was out doing a shameless plug a couple of weeks ago talking about, I'm not the same fighter I used to be.
Exactly.
Please miss me with that.
Right. And then you heard from the camps, both camps, the sparring partners who are the sparring partners are supposed to be guys that are champions. They've won. They've got medals. They've got belts. They're well-accomplished fighters. Both camps are saying that their sparring partners are getting destroyed by Floyd Mayweather's destroying his sparring partner. Conor McGregor's knocking out his sparring partner. It's like, how good are these guys if they're just getting blown away in the ring by Floyd and Conor McGregor. Now, granted, these are pro fighters, Conor and Floyd, so they know how to fight, but it's like, come on, man, really?
They're knocking them out with headgear on.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. Like, Floyd Mayweather is knocking guys, blowing these guys out of the ring.
With your headgear.
Really?
With your headgear.
And they're going that full tilt. Conor McGregor knocking out his sparring partner. Like, oh, yeah. It's like, come on. I'm over the fight. I'm honestly, you know, there's the Canelo fight is also airing that same night on HBO.
And if I want to watch boxing, I will actually watch the
Canelo fight. Exactly. Yes. That's a real fighter, real boxer. So tune into that on HBO at 10 o'clock Central Time. You will be able to watch that.
I need at least one person to buy the fight so they can put it on YouTube and I can see the highlights later.
Look, I just want to have a couple drinks and just watch the fight. Correct. But I'm not paying for the fight. So if somebody wants to buy it for me, buy it for us, we can go to the watch party. That'd be great.
And the nachos, and I'll come over and laugh.
Little mixed drink, little cocktail or something. That'd be fine for me. You know, maybe some chips and dip. But I'm not buying the fight. It's just not happening.
Not happening.
So, anyways, do you think there will be a knockout at all or
not?
No. Okay, no.
No.
All right, so let's move on. There's been a lot of stuff going on this week with all the Charlottesville stuff, Charlottesville, Virginia. The protests, the anti-protests, all of the stuff that's been going on. It's just a tragic time right now. We're trying to mend and mold together as a country to be above the stuff that took place over the weekend and move forward and just be better as one nation. And LeBron James has had very strong words about our president, President Donald Trump. He was speaking at, I don't even know if it was like
a charity event.
It was a charity event. This is where people don't understand us as analysts or journalists for the fact that we respect LeBron James as a human being. Our issues with LeBron James deal with him on the basketball court and his antics.
As a leader and a player in the NBA.
And how he handles himself in the locker room and things like that. But as a person off the basketball court, what he does for his community, the city of Akron, the city of Cleveland, what he is as, I don't want to say a political leader, but he was out there supporting Hillary Clinton.
Yes, he was.
He's out there promoting safety in the streets. He's sending kids to college. He is a great human being. He really is. I think that LeBron James has done so much in this country just from those little things.
100%.
And because there's so many athletes that aren't doing that and are doing that, but LeBron James doesn't have to do that, and he's doing that out of his own money, his own pocket. I know that you had some thoughts on what LeBron James did and kind of how you feel about what he was talking about this weekend.
That's very well said, because we have people, even in our own family, who call us haters and you guys just like Steph and you hate LeBron. That's not true. That's all related to just basketball.
Right.
And a lot of it's in good fun. But LeBron James, like you said, I just want to say ditto. He's a good man.
Yes.
And he's the kind of man you could ask your kids to look up to as a person. And he basically just said, look, this so-called president, and then he just said Trump has made hate fashionable. And then he said, look, I have this platform and I'm somebody that has a command of my voice, or a voice of command. Right. And he's right. He's just recognizing people listen when I talk. So I better have something important to say. And this is important. I want to just say to you, LeBron James, thank you for being that person, for being that man.
Yep.
We needed that voice, and we need more of them.
More, yes.
All across the country,
everyone.
Black and white.
Yes,
so
Asian, Latino, everyone.
I know.
Jewish community, everyone needs to step up and speak out.
Just thank you,
yes,
LeBron.
Yeah,
well
you
done.
did great, man.
Good job.
Well, on the heels of the Charlottesville, Virginia incident and tragic death of the young woman that died, the anti-protest that was going on to stop the protest of the people that were there was on the heels of that. The NFL has the fantasy draft. ESPN hosts their huge NFL draft party, and all that stuff is going on.
It's like 24 hours of fantasy football. It's all good fun.
And everyone has their own fantasy football. There are groups. I've got friends that do it. Fantasy football is extremely fun. Well, ESPN did their own version of it. As we said, they had a full marathon, and then they held a auction as far as the best players in the NFL, and how they did it. It was just shocking to people because it wasn't a good look for ESPN for how they hosted this auction and what they were doing with the players. The optics of it were not very good, and so there were people that were upset on the ESPN campus and around the country even when they heard about the situation. Odell Beckham tweeted out about it. He said he was speechless because he was one of the athletes that was on the stage. Now, you have a little bit more insight as for what actually took place with this auction.
Well, I think they were trying to do it as a skit or trying to be funny. It was really supposed to be tongue-in-cheek, but they had a basically all-white audience sitting there. They had an actual auctioneer standing behind a podium, and just like they'd hold up an auction item like, this is actually from the Football Hall of Fame. This actually really is. Okay, but they hold this up, this football helmet from the Hall of Fame, blah, blah, blah. Well, the auctioneer standing there with the gavel, he holds up these little sticks with the pictures of the guys on their head. So one of the optics is a black man's face, right. Odell Beckham Jr., and this white guy, who will give me what for this, this player.
Right.
And the fact is they auctioned off a few white players, Tom Brady, Gronk, whatever. But the very optics that you have an all-white audience, a white man holding up a black man's head, asking who would bid for this, it just was such a bad look.
Right.
It harkened back to a time that we should all be ashamed of, and not us, but this country should be ashamed of. And it was supposed to be something fun and funny. We definitely get that. I know ESPN was not trying to do a slave auction,
right?
But the optics of it were really bad. If they had had a black guy do it, or a black people in the audience, or any kind of diversity in there,
the audience,
then the tongue-in-cheek of it might have come through. But Odell Beckham, like you said, Odell Beckham tweeted out speechless, seeing himself up there auctioned off.
ESPN holds themselves to a very high standard. They issued an apology. The visual of it was not good, and so they felt bad about what happened. And so I know they'll be a lot more aware and cognizant of the auction next year, or if they even do an auction next year.
I'm guessing that's not
probably not. But it's just the awareness of everything going on in this country right now is so thick and so heavy, and we all need to just be aware of what's going on.
Well, the NFL had that image. I know we've got to go. We're running along, but back in the day when they would do the combine, well, they still do the combine, but they have the guys walk up there and literally in their underwear, so they could turn around and get a good look.
They're looking up
up and down, show me your teeth, like that kind of stuff. It is such a bad look, and it gives you that creepy feeling.
It is.
Let's just keep fantasy football fun.
Just keep it fun. We're ready for football. I think that's the big thing about this all, is that we're all ready for football season, and we can't wait. It needs to start today, so we can just keep going. But we want to say,
nonsense. Let's just play.
We want to thank you for joining us today. We will bring you much more as the season is progressing and getting near. We want to say we appreciate your time, folks, and we'll see you again.